thing that we're doing. We're just gonna sit around and talk about rank for a bit. We're featuring this in the firing range just for kicks and giggles. So first off, I want to talk about what our personal goals are for doing rank this season, because it's right now it's a good opportunity to look at ourselves and see what we want to accomplish. For me, I just want to progress farther out, so I really just want to get out of platinum and see if I can achieve a better rank than I have in the past. So I'll leave it up to my two other teammates. Thomas, why don't you go first and talk about what you want to accomplish rank-wise?
Well, my goal is essentially the same as you. I want to get higher than I've gotten before. I have never really taken ranked real serious. Like just playing like I play any other match, wanting to win, but a little bit more serious, not going for weeklies or anything like that when doing rank. So my goal is, like I said, is essentially like yours. I just want to get higher, so I want to try to get to platinum because I've never done that. So that's my goal. Because unlike you, Carlton, who will probably be getting more kills than me, let's be honest, you'll probably be getting more kills than me. You'll get higher than me. So, but my goal is to get higher than I have, which is, like I said, platinum.
Platinum, yeah. What about you, Sam? What do you want to accomplish while we play rank this season?
I don't play ranked very often, except with you guys, so my goal is I just want to see how far I can go, I feel like I'm a good enough player I can get at least the platinum and be comfortable there. But I'd like to, see if I can extend my reach a little bit, Let's play with a team that wants to, look back on what we did and get better at it. That sounds nice. Rather than just playing with publics and not being able to do anything to improve. So, yeah, I'd like to get a little bit, just see what my max is, see what my maximum weight is.
Yeah, one thing I want to mention about those goals is that rank tastes different than regular Apex, because you'll have, and especially when you're playing with a pre-made team, you won't have a random drop out from you when you feel like you can continue to progress and do other stuff that Apex is basically built to do. Like, it's built to be a team play through and through and not a solo match. And so you'll have a lot more...
Not duos and trios.
Yes, not duos and trios, basically, yes. And so you'll find that teams will also act differently, too. They might be a little bit more conservative in some ways. But one reason why I want to talk about ranked is because of the changes that's been implemented. So there's basically two big overarching changes to rank. One of them is that there is no rank split. We could ask what that means for us individually, what that means for us as a team, what does that mean overall. For individually, for me that means instead of being a race to see where we can go, it's more of a marathon. We can actually plan out playing ranked and stuff. For a team, that means we probably can grow as a team and progress further in ranked. We probably won't have to worry about outranking each other. Because if we rank too high, I wouldn't be able to meet up with you guys and do that kind of stuff. And in overall, it's probably going to mean that more people could play rank now instead of worrying about what those splits are. And then the other big change is RP to LP. This is probably the biggest change. It's probably one that most people are going to be talking about. There's a bunch of different focuses on what those changes are. So there's going to be new matchmaking. It's a different system. It's going to have a hidden match ranking rating for players. And then there's going to be some pre-made changes for pre-made teams. So those teams who, like us, we're going to have different matchmaking as a team versus solo players. Then there's a new scoring system. It's going to be based more about winning the Battle Royale. And there's going to be new bonuses for that. So with these changes and overall for the current season, players most definitely will interact with ranks differently. It is up to us to plan out how impactful we're going to make those changes. So let's take a bigger look at those changes. So I'll leave it up to you guys to continue the conversation. Like, what do you feel like rank's gonna evolve over for us?
I think
for us
for
individually,
actually,
kind of.
what was that?
Are you saying like for us as a team?
And individually, yeah.
So both,
Okay.
however you feel like it.
I think personally, like that the new ranked system actually favors at least mine and Carlton's play style a bit more. Where we're definitely play conservative and then try for the real high rank in the match itself, rather than trying necessarily the hot drop and get huge high kill counts. And the fact that ranking in the match itself is going to count for more, I think that's actually going to help. At least me personally, because I play, anchor support. Like I'm not getting high kills. I can get damage, but I'm not going to get high kills. But I'm just trying to get the team to the finish line, kind of thing. So I think that'll help me.
I think I'm just thinking about the lack of a split. I think that means that it's going to give us more longevity in our playing, and we're not going to feel like we're stuck so much in having to play for the next split. It's not like we can do really poorly the first split and then be like, well, I guess we're stuck till the next one. But rather we can improve over time and have a better chance of having a rank we feel good about later in the season. I think that's going to be really good. And to speak to the idea of like how you play ranked, yeah, it doesn't really favor the way I play the game, but when I'm playing with you guys, I'm very adaptable to how you play. And so I think that's actually going to be our strength, is the fact that we can be flexible like that. But also, at this point in the way we play the game, when it's time to push, we know how to push.
Yeah.
And we have people who on our team who are good at the fragging aspect of it. And then people who are good at the cleaning up of it, and people who are, so I think we're going to have a pretty good balance of strategy over necessarily raw skill, and that'll help.
One thing I want to talk about, all those people who are, super concerned about like kill count stuff. The only people who are going to be really damaged by it, in my opinion, is going to be the hot drop people. Those people who want to get like 5 kills right away, and then if they don't win, it doesn't matter to them. Because the biggest thing is like the negative, I believe it's negative 35 for a match, a cost for that.
Yeah. Every match has a cost.
And then your placement won't, you won't break even until like halfway through the placement. So the people who will get, let's say, 10th place, and then they do have a high kill count, they won't be affected. They will basically be scoring the same, probably.
Yeah.
They'll still be scoring on a regular basis. And then for people who are concerned on that, you also have those bonuses that you'll get in the match. And one of those bonuses is the more kills you get, you'll get more points for that too.
This is a little bird dropping.
Yeah, I like I said, because that's not us. We don't like to do the hot drop, fight 4 teams right off of the drop type thing. It definitely doesn't favor my play style, and I don't find it fun to to lose 3 matches to have 1 successful drop where you get like 5 kills off the cuff. Like that's not worth it to me. And I think the new rank system is going to benefit that kind of play style. The fact that it's different. So that's one of the things I'm looking forward to with it.
I agree. And I don't even really like to play that way, but I know that in ranked, that's going to be the strategy. That's what you got to do. So knowing that that's the case, I feel
knowing it's half the battle.
Oh yeah, that's right. I feel like I'm going to go in and not be a big old fragger all the time, and I'll be able to contribute.
Another thing to keep in mind with the kill count, I believe the assist timer also has increased from 15 to 30 seconds. So
yeah, it's a longer timer. Yeah,
it's a longer timer, so we'll be able to, even if you did, well, that probably is more of a team advantage kind of thing, where you want to say that you do get a high volume of teams in one area, and you do land those assists, you'll still feel the benefits for getting involved in life.
Yeah, once again, that plays to my wheelhouse because I'm all about getting the assists.
I'll get about it. And then there's also going to be, I'll just talk about hidden matchmaking for a bit. That seems very interesting to me in the sense of where our placement could be in visually, like where does Respawn think players are. I've looked at one of their graphs, most players are in the middle, but like, I'm curious what specifically where I am on that and then how that affects each of us. Because when you spin it to a pre-made team, instead of doing a bucket matchmaking system, which is what they've previously done, they're doing more of a weighted average. And so it seems like we might be either pulled up or pulled down case-by-case basis on whoever we are random with sometimes or who are playing with a pre-made team. And so how do you determine that? And that's one aspect of the matchmaking that's probably yet to be found out. I know that
That's
Thomas
interesting
wants,
too.
Yeah, it is
Yeah,
interesting.
the MMR thing, because that was kind of in a lot of ways, it's kind of like an archaic way of keeping rank, because they did that, in a lot of games that had ranks that were at beta. Like, that's the way they did it, and so it's interesting that they're, you know what I mean? It's kind of interesting they're bringing all that back for a game that is this new-ish.
Yeah,
So,
I do find it interesting that they're doing that. I do think people have like jumped into the pool of like hating on it right away because it is an older system.
yeah,
But
and I don't hate it, but it's just older. I just find it interesting.
yeah, I remember like doing like lots of ladder climbing for old strategy games and things like that, which is similar for those old school ones. I don't know how well. I do know that one because they already had some of the programming involved because that's how they did their arenas,
Mm-hmm.
So it was like they didn't have to add in a whole bunch of new coding to change it up, and people were calling for it, They were like, you have to change it. We hate it. So, it could work well for us. I know for some people they feel like it's broken and whatnot. Like it's not good enough.
But things will never be good enough for some people.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, currently in the way ranked is, like, there's in Predator lobbies, pros are getting like 20 bombs in Predator lobbies,
Yeah.
which is crazy. That would never
Well, which
happen.
also I think with the split though, it'll help balance that out,
Sure, it'll eventually work its way to where it's competitive for those high-level people, and it's fun for us who are at a lower. I think that'll be really good. It just we need to give it some time.
Yeah. And I think the non-split will help with that, yeah.
Right. Exactly.
All right, and Thomas, you wanted to talk about more of Team Cop. So what do you have in mind on that?
Well, for me, one way I'd like to talk about it is just the characters I want to play and the characters I would like those I'm playing with to play, essentially. Because I can see some good comps working, and part of that is a lot of like the meta characters aren't my wheelhouse characters, and they aren't necessarily our favorite characters to play as a group. We're not playing Catalyst a bunch, which is considered, a meta character. And so, like, the Catalyst Seer thing is not one we play. So for me, like, obviously, my number one, which you guys, it's no surprise to you guys, I'm sure, to play in ranked is for me to want to play as Crypto. I feel like I'm really effective with him, and, like, I think that I feel like I add good support, and it helps you guys play better because of the way that I play Crypto, and I do feel like it's useful. So that lends me to, like, if I'm playing Crypto, I want Sam to be playing something like Mirage, because Mirage is great as a secondary fragger, as well as being support and giving us the whole, like, because there's a group support buff now. And so giving us the group support buff, if he's playing as Mirage, and Sam is a good Mirage, even if, like, once again, Mirage is not considered a meta pick. And then that, like, lends me to, like, wanting you, Carlton, to be playing somebody with movement, honestly. Either like Wraith or better to me with that group comp would be Pathfinder. If we need the more aggressive nature, I've actually really been enjoying playing with you as Ballistic. It's been really fun, which has surprised me because your playstyle is a little bit different when you're playing Ballistic, but I think it's good. I think it's fun. And so that would be like my immediate team comp would be the Crypto, Mirage, and Pathfinder. That would be my go-to because I think those are all characters we're good with, solid with, and I do think they work well together because Mirage works well as a distraction and a secondary fragger as well as getting more info, as well as Crypto being a good enough anchor and with the banners. I mean, the banners combined with like being able to construct them because if we have a support in the team, construct the banners and then go collect them with a Crypto drone. That's awesome to me.
Well, and
as well as
with the new
res.
support changes,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Mirage
Like,
is a support. I mean, it makes sense.
Mirage is a support with the bonus of like anyone can craft banners if somebody goes down. Like, that's just so good. And like I said, you're good with Mirage. So doing that combo, and then the movement bonus, because like I honestly feel like the biggest weakness of Crypto, besides the obvious one of everything's tied to the drone, is the fact that he has no movement. Like he is stuck. He really is a stuck champion. But like playing with Pathfinder, when Carlton's playing Pathfinder, I'm like, I'll play Crypto all day because Carlton always gets a zipline. Like even if I'm in my drone and he's already moving, he'll zipline back to me, to get me to be able to move. And I know Carlton with Pathfinder's grapple can really entry frag. And so I think that would be my go-to. But then also, like, if people are wanting to switch things up and not necessarily play necessarily the same roles, I prefer playing recon characters. But if I'm going to play with an assault character, I'd want to play Bangalore, because that's the one that I'm best with. I also think she's got a great kit. But then if we do that, I'd want someone to be playing someone recon, with some sort of wall hack or whatever for her smoke, because otherwise I feel really guilty smoking you guys, even though it's useful. So I don't necessarily know who I'd want you guys to play on that one. I mentioned two that I'd like Carlton to be playing. Another one I'd like to Sam play some is Valkyrie this season, just because she's good utility, and I think that she really helps the team as a whole. Plus, her with the new jump towers thing, she can get her passive so often now. That passive scan. I just think that's great. Like, she doesn't have to ult to get it or use a jump tower to get it. So, like, she can use just the evac towers. So that's kind of what I was thinking. Otherwise, I do like playing Bloodhound when Carlton's playing Ballistic. I do like playing Seer in general. I don't think he's as good, especially for our playstyle, because his ult attracts so much attention as when I'm playing Crypto. But those are the ones I'm thinking that I'd like to see, like, you guys play on, like Pathfinder and Ballistic for Carlton, and Mirage and Valkyrie for Sam. Those are the ones I'd like to play with, and then my top two choices for me to play would be either Crypto, or if you're not wanting to play support, I also would enjoy some Loba. For obvious reasons, I like to play her. She's got movement, as well as her ultimate is such a good support skill that I feel I can contribute even if I'm having a bad game. So those are my three: Bangalore, Loba, Crypto for me to play. Two that I'd like to see you guys play would be Mirage, Valkyrie, and then Ballistic, Pathfinder. Well, Pathfinder, Ballistic, the other way around. So that's what I'm feeling. I'd also like to hear from you guys who you want to play. That's one of the things I would like to see, like, hear from, and who you'd like to see, like I just did for me, like who you'd like to see us play with you, that you think would be a good comp to complement each other's play.
Well, I mean, like, Crypto is interesting. I like you to play crypto in the sense of that's I know that you feel the most comfortable with,
Watch my back.
and as I believe how the rotation is, I think it works with crypto good enough that I would never have to worry about moving it too much. And Valkyrie is interesting. The only hesitation I have with playing Valkyrie is landing the tactical isn't as useful as landing tacticals with other characters, especially like with an assault character. And then opening assault bins is super important for me. So then,
Yeah.
like my support character that I usually would want to play as, or control character I was want to play as, is usually just going to be flexible on whoever we're playing team comp wise.
So who are you thinking then team comp wise? So you're flexible on who you'd want to play. What's your flex then that you'd want to flex between?
Like with support and control.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's always going to be Watson or Rampart control for me, and then with support it's always going to be Loba. But like if we're going to push hard, I've been thinking about switching defense with a push. So I was been thinking like Newcastle is also a very interesting support character.
Newcastle's another one I had thought about for Sam because I know he's actually it doesn't normally lend to Sam's normal playstyle, but I see Sam doing really well with him. And also I've seen you do some pretty cool stuff with Newcastle.
Well, and my preference, I don't mind playing support, but my preferences are the supports that can be in the front. So people like Mirage and Newcastle, you know, who can be right up there. And also they're the kind of I think of them as the revive supports too. You know, a lot of their kit is around being able to save a teammate. And I like that. Same with Lifeline is kind of the other one of. But she's got a little more utility as well. And Loba's okay, but not quite the way I like to play.
Yeah.
One I'm missing. That's all of them. Gibraltar. Gibraltar's the other one who's kind of unique in the sense that he's not like the other supports in any way. He's like Newcastle, I guess, is probably the biggest similarity. But even then, I'd rather play Newcastle if I had to choose.
Really great stuff. I'm going to put a pin in this conversation real quick. We have our first YouTube question. So this comes from Mr. Smith. How do you guys think meta legends are going to be affecting lower tier ranks versus pre-lobbies with the new rank system? So do you...
I think it'll...
Go ahead.
Okay, go for it, Carlton.
Well, the only thing I was thinking more of the sense of, I think this is a question really much geared still with us. Like, I think the question will also lead into how's those meta characters going to affect our gameplay as well.
Yeah.
Or how are we going to, I would think too, how are we going to combat meta teams?
Yeah, so other pre-made
that's what I was thinking right away, yeah. Because I immediately think of the meta that was the meta from last season, which they didn't change, even though they said they were going to, of the Seer Catalyst.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I think two other options, and that's one of the reasons I also do like the picks, is Crypto, with his drone, it can't see through the wall, but you can go to the top of the wall and still see both sides.
Mm-hmm.
I've done that a couple of times with Catalyst. It doesn't work indoors because the wall reaches the ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
But it is an option, and you can still send your drone through the wall, but you can only see one side or the other, you know? And so that's an option. But also Valkyrie's an option on that, too, because her ult still scans people because it's from the air. And as well as the towers, that passive will still scan people. I do think that, there's a reason why the meta characters are the meta. Seer being able to find enemies without them having any kind of knowledge at all. I mean, that's so great. That's really good. And I do like Seer. I just feel more comfortable on other recon legends. So, I don't know.
Bird dropping here.
I'm not too worried about catalysts other than ult in late game. When it's in those tight corridors, you can't get away from it. You have to deal with it. And a lot of people will play that meta team comp that aren't necessarily good with it. Just because it is the meta, not necessarily its characters that they're good with. So.
Well, I mean, like, do you think the meta is just Catalyst down, or do you think there's another meta that I'm probably not aware of?
Well, that's the main meta that I know of. Is that because Seer is considered like the meta character right now. Seer is, and one of the big reasons for that is because of the way that his ult works with Catalyst ult. I know that's one of the main reasons. He is considered the meta character, and his wall hacks for just scanning people and his interrupt. I mean, his kit is good. There's a reason why he's considered the meta character. I wish that. Well, no, I don't necessarily wish that because it did create like a really hardcore scan meta in general, and everyone was doing the scan characters of all of them before they kind of nerfed them a little bit.
Yeah, there was some counter picking or like some kind of like we have to play this certain way now kind of thing. So.
Yeah. And well, actually, that's one of the reasons I think it helped Crypto because Crypto still has a great scan. You know, he still has the ability to see people at all times when he's got them on their drone. And since I like playing Crypto, I think that the nerfs to the scan meta and stuff like that actually benefited my playstyle. So, yeah, that's... I think, like, also in the ranks we're going, we're not going to play against, like, that we will be, because we're not Predator-level players. We're not. I mean, I'm not. Maybe you guys consider yourselves Predator-level players. If I'm honest, I wouldn't consider you guys Predator-level players. I'm sorry. But because of that, I don't think the meta will affect us as hard because the people we run into playing it will either be people who their skill level isn't enough for it to really matter, or the meta is helping pull them up, so our skill level will be better than theirs.
Well, so you'd say
that makes sense.
There's another question in the sense of a pre-made team. Let's say that there's 2 Predator players on it, and then let's say they have a new person that they've just started playing with. The question is probably more like those teams will not be pulled down as much in the sense of they'll probably pull up that player. And then the question would also be how often would we be playing against, let's say, a team who's being formed for the first time with a bunch of, like, not necessarily new players, but players who are playing together for the first time. Will we play against a bunch of so-called meta teams in that way?
So worried about, like, somebody, like, grouping together and using the lower ranks of their others to pull them into lower lobbies? Is that what you're saying?
And I'm not saying that they're doing it on purpose. I'm saying it's more of also a fact that we could still... Lower lobbies could still consider playing against, like, a meta team.
I mean, that's possible, and if they're... But I also think, like, if we're playing against Predator-level players, I think we'll be in trouble anyways. I think that... I'm not worried about the meta too much because of the fact that it is a longer season. I think that will benefit it. You know, people balancing out. And, like, I'm not trying to get to Predator, so I don't need that slight edge. I need to play characters that I'm more comfortable with, and characters that'll work. Like, I mean, if I was playing with Caleb, I would bring up the idea of playing Revenant to him. He actually can make Revenant work in ways that I don't see him work, but he's considered the absolute worst character in the game right now. You know, he's considered, like, trash at high end. You would never see him in a pro game, and it makes sense that you wouldn't, because at that high tier, that minute difference in play is really important. But I mean, Caleb scaling walls and getting to places where he shouldn't be able to, and using the death totem in a situation where we're scrambling, like, that can work. And I've seen him do it. And so him playing with a character that would be useful, I'd rather him do that than try to play like Newcastle, which is totally not his playstyle, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So the meta I don't feel like is as important as playing characters that we're going to actually be successful at. That's what I think about it.
Throwing Arcstar.
And yes, there is a meta, and I think that we won't be able to counter it sometimes. I think anyone who's actually like seriously good at utilizing that team comp and utilizing the exploits well together will be a problem for us. And we will be able to counter some with the scan stuff if I'm playing a scan legend or if one of you guys is playing a scan legend. But at the same time, there'll be some that we can't. So
I think
that's what I feel about
what it's going to come down to is we got to play to our strengths,
yeah.
and then see what other people are playing, and then maybe be flexible to change up what we have in order to play against what we're seeing. Mm-hmm. I think that's more how we're going to have to react, because that's what happened last year in the ALGS. They were seeing a lot of this Catalyst Seer combination, which is still prevalent now, but not nearly as much as it was.
No, not as much.
And that's because teams started playing Rampart, who would just tear through that wall with their turret.
Yeah.
And have protection on the other side. So people were adjusting to what they were seeing, and we'll just have to do the same thing.
And I mean, we could do that. Like Carlton playing Rampart is a comfortable rotation. I'd be all for that.
Oh yeah.
As long as I'm not the one playing Rampart or a team to try and counter that, but Carlton can play Rampart. He's good at Rampart.
I think, though, too, Carlton makes a good point. I think it's important for us to have an Assault Legend, just because of their passive with those bins. I think...
Well, and just the amount of ammo they can carry. Assault are so good. I do like the benefit of the movement characters that can move the whole team. Like I was saying, like Pathfinder or Wraith or Valkyrie. All three of those, I mean...
Or Horizon. I think we haven't even mentioned Horizon yet, and Horizon is a perfectly good character in about every single way. I think you could put her into any team composition and do just fine.
I think she does do better in better team comps.
The only shame with her is that she is a skirmisher. I think that's the only shame.
And that's one of the reasons that I like Pathfinder, because he benefits so much from the skirmisher passive, It really makes him strong.
Oh yeah.
So you're not just playing just the basic skirmisher passive. It's like a bonus extra skirmisher passive. So that's one of the reasons that I fought him. Just because I see that he's like skirmisher plus with his passive.
Well, and part of me thinks too, like, our goal in the end of the game is to get as far into the game. Correct placement is kind of like the key here. So, in my thinking, what I'm thinking is like we need to play legends that help us get into position and then help us keep our position. Like Crypto, I think, is a great option for that. The other thing is playing legends that can force other teams out of their positions in case we need to take it, and that's when I think of like Horizon, or I think of other like Assault Legends, even Mad Maggie, I think of, or that's kind of their role, is to displace teams for the other team so that you can fill the spot or whatever. Like Horizon's Ultimate is one of the best in the game for doing that exact thing, and Bangalore's Ultimate,
Rolling Thunder.
And Gibraltar's Bombardment. Like, all of those moves are great for displacing teams at the end of the game, because that's what's going to win the game, is placements. Because you'll see final circles with, like, 7 teams, and the team that has that, And then the argument for Valkyrie, too, being able to ult out or use evac towers now to place yourself. Those are all going to be super critical for winning matches and getting first, second, top 3. That should be our goal. Every game should be at least the top 3. So, I am curious to know from you guys, though, what legends you think shouldn't be played or are not going to be played as much.
Like, shouldn't be played by us or won't be played very often in general?
I would think probably shouldn't be played by us is probably more pertinent to our conversation. So, What do you
Yeah,
think
I
in terms of
there's a
like
few that
should
I
it be played
like,
by us?
but because of like a lot of the same things you've been saying, like I don't think should be played by me. Controllers, I don't think I should play a controller at all. Like honestly, I love Caustic. I think he's really fun and a cool kit, but I don't think it brings enough benefit for me to play a character like Caustic or Watson, rather than like it'd be much more beneficial for me to play other characters. You know,
Right.
like either Bangalore or Crypto or Lifeline or Loba. Like any of those, I'm going to bring more to the group than if I play a controller. Even a couple of the skirmishers. But personally, also, I don't think I should play as a skirmisher. I'm not an entry fragger, and a skirmisher is best used if you're an entry fragger, I think. Or at least a secondary fragger, and that doesn't play to my strength, so I don't think I should play as any of the skirmishers. But the support, I can play some of the assault. Mostly, like I said, Bangalore would be the one I'd be most comfortable with. But depending on the game we're playing, I could play some Fuse as well, just for some poke and displacement, like you were saying before.
Already on my mark.
But I think that playing as skirmisher wouldn't benefit the team enough for me to play it, and playing as control wouldn't benefit the team enough for me to play it.
It's interesting. I think that Fuse is an interesting one to talk about because I don't see him being useful too often.
I don't have time to bleed.
I mean, those grenades are good. Don't get me wrong, but even like a Fuse can easily be countered by a Watson, and I think a Watson is a good choice. You know, I think.
And a lot of people love Watson. It's not like she's an abnormal one to be played. So yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
But the poke from Fuse to just mess with teams and displace them. I mean, if you're talking Watson ult though, that also counters Bangalore and Gibby ult, like you were talking. It counters
Mad Maggie's ball.
Mad Maggie, not just Mad Maggie's ball, but her tactical if it's not placed in the right place. Yeah, so I mean, the Watson play can be really good because of some of those other picks. But once again, for me, I don't feel like I bring enough benefit as opposed to other characters that I bring benefit with, for me to be playing as one of those.
Well, I agree.
As opposed to somebody else.
I feel the same way. I feel like that's not where my strength is either. But
Carlton playing a Watson would bring utility to that. I mean, Carlton's Watson is good. And so if he was playing Watson, I'd feel like it would be bringing a lot to the party, kind of thing.
Oh, I agree. That and Rampart and...
Yeah, I mentioned him on Rampart already for that counter. But Carlton can play control characters. Carlton can play any of the characters. Although I'm going to be honest, he does play less support and recon than me, but that's because I'm usually playing those and he's grouping with me. So I get more practice on those kind of characters than he does. So
one thing I have to say, I mean, like we've gone back to talking about comps, which is perfectly perfect, but it's because it's what teams will have with pre-made. If people are going to do pre-made teams, they should be talking about this. If they're not, then I don't know why you're doing a pre-made team at that point. You might as well just play by yourself in some ways, so, especially with rank, because if you do that, you'll get more flexibility because you'll play with other legends more often. But for the sake of the conversation of leading to what we want to accomplish, I think there's also a lot of different points in the game. I think there's the beginning, middle, and end of the game, and each of those parts are very different from each other. And understanding what legends do for those specific points will be reflected in that way. So a lot of characters with like high damage ults or high effective ults, like say like a Bangalore, that could be very effective, like at the end of the game for what we've been talking about. It also could be very flashy in the sense of, well, you just invited a third party to join up with you, and you figure out which way is which way. So I think in talking about comp wise, you also have to talk about the weaknesses of those characters in some ways, and like hitting the fact that doing Watson with those tacticals is a big thing, especially like with Fuse. You know, like in the conversation of what characters we probably shouldn't be playing, I think Fuse could probably be one of those characters in the sense of all of his kit is mostly damage. You can't be flexible with Fuse in that way. You can be creative with Fuse, and you can try to do that, but you could also mess up your teammate more often than help them in some ways, especially with you get hit by the tactical because you messed up somehow, and that could also cause damage against your team. So I think that's one thing that we could talk about in that way of why we shouldn't pick character, in the sense of it could cause more negatives to us team play wise. I think Caustic is also kind of in that way. Like, you have to be a very good Caustic player to understand when you should ult and when you shouldn't, and when you should trap and when you shouldn't trap. So getting down to our strengths and then trickle down our weaknesses is probably a good thing. I think Mirage is probably the top tier for Sam, in the sense of that gives us the flexibility that we don't have to play support, and we can do what Thomas has talked about, and playing more crypto in that way. So stuff like that is, I think, where we should probably lead conversation-wise.
Yeah. I agree with everything you're saying, which is essentially why I was saying I didn't want to play some of those characters. I also think that like some that don't fit the way that we will be playing, just because the way that you and I tend to play. Sam is showing off one of them right now, like Octane. Octane won't fit with our play style. He can do well. Like, he is one of those characters that can do well, and certain people can do well with him, but he's not going to lend well, I think, to the way that we play and trying to get that final ring and all of that stuff. Octane's one of those. Even if people can do well at him. I just don't think he lends enough. And I, honestly, my strengths, like I've said, are in recon characters and the support characters. Specifically, I definitely like playing crypto. I mentioned it before, and I feel no shame in saying that he's probably my best character, and that's okay. And I want to play some of him because I feel like I can help the team as a whole. I think it can help us, as well as I can be successful personally as well with him. So.
All right. Is there any more characters you want to talk about, Sam, real quick, before we maybe jump into a match?
Well, I think Tom's kind of gave his top three and who he'd team those up with, and for me, it's similar. He's right about who I'd want to play. I mean, first and foremost, I'd want to play Mirage, because I think with the way I play him is very, for lack of a better term, I play him very Mirage-y. And then, for that, I think he's worth playing. His invisible rezzing, his ability to revive teammates invisibly, and then you couple that with Crypto being able to do it with his drone. It's just really strong. And then being able to craft banners with the support passive, plus all of the other little things that Mirage brings to the table. Just makes things confusing for other teams, and it's just a good distraction while, like, Crypto needs the drone, or you need to create a way for us to get out of a fight or something, Like, there's all of that stuff there that's super useful. So he'd be my number one. If I had to pick a second off the cuff, it's probably a more of an Assault Legend type for me, or even Bloodhound. I know I've been playing a lot of Bloodhound lately, and I think if we ever needed a somebody to cover the recon shift for Thomas if he's getting bored of it and wants to do something else, then Bloodhound is I feel very comfortable with Bloodhound too. And then there's legends like in the skirmishing group, I really like Horizon. I think Horizon has a lot of, and I play Horizon pretty well. So yeah, I think that my top three are probably going to be Mirage, Bloodhound, and Horizon in our team, and probably in that order too. As far as who I'd like to see, I like Thomas's Crypto because he doesn't turn it into a video game. He stays in his drone an appropriate amount of time. He doesn't live in it. And then you as a controller, I think, is really good too, or even an assault legend, so that you can get us the loot we need. Like I like when you play Ash. I like your Wraith is also really good. As far as a skirmishing character goes, if you wanted to go that route, your Rampart's really strong. I like your Rampart more than I like your Watt, personally.
Okay.
But I like the utility that your Watson brings and the way we can just nest in a house. That's the part of the game where I feel weakest with Mirage, though, is when I'm, we're stuck in a house at the end of the game, and I can't offer a lot in that moment. And I feel like I'm sitting there waiting for the fight. You know what I mean? Because it's inevitable. So, but yeah, that's kind of my 2 cents about who I'd like to play. I think Thomas pretty much said everything that I was thinking and wanted to say.
Well, that's good. That means we're on the same page.
Oh yeah.
So one more thing until you probably nailed down like a specific team comp. I'll just want to put out just to clarify. I think support is a character that you should have to have just because of the nature of the passive for everything.
And you want to last long in games. You need to be able to craft those anytime you want, not just rely on them being alive to do it.
Yeah, that's so good now.
And after that, I think it's going to go. You should. If you do a support, it should be either one of a assault and one of a skirmisher, or one recon and one controller. Something like that seems to be the best alignment of those kinds of things. Assault, you might be able to push a little bit more especially with a good skirmisher, and then with a recon, I think a recon goes really well with a controller. So, after speaking on that, what team comp do you want to try out first? What do you think what we should nail down first wise?
Well, my question is, have you guys done your placements for ranked yet?
No,
No, I haven't done any. I haven't done a single placement one yet. So.
Me neither. I haven't done any yet either. So I didn't know if we were all starting in the same place or not.
But the other thing, before I get into who I would think for a starting comp, I want to hear your 2 cents on that, Carlton. Like your top 3 you would want to play. If you were to pick a top 3, and then at least one you'd like to see each of us play. I heard you say Crypto already for me and Mirage for Sam, so I guess you covered that one already. But just like your top 3 that you would think you would like to play this season for Ranked.
That's basically, I mean, leading on what I just said like a couple seconds ago, that basically means what I want to see would be Mirage, Crypto, and then probably Rampart, because that team comp probably works the best in the sense of doing early game stuff wise and knowing information, and also late game holding down a location wise. So I think
for your other ones that you would want to play, that's what I'm wondering. Like you personally would want to play.
Well, I mean,
besides just Rampart.
So for me, it's always going to be what I think the best team comp is of the rest of my teammates. So that's how my thinking is always going to be.
Because he's holier than both of us. He only thinks of us first. He doesn't think of others. He thinks of others before himself. Just teasing you, Carlton.
Yes. You probably basically then you lead me into the conversation of what we really haven't talked about, and that's basically what the new legend brings to the game. And I think the meta seems to be stuck on what Catalyst has brought, and I don't think there's a conversation of what Ballistic has brought to the meta. And I think that's going to change, and I'm surprised that I don't feel like people are talking about it, but it's whatever. I think Ballistic brings in a bigger push motif and then a bigger sit down and control motif at the same time. And I'm going to talk more about that in the future, but that's probably the character I'm probably going to be playing the most this season. And that's also the character that I think also brings a really good team aspect. And a tease for that would probably be what his ult does for us. And what that means, unlimited ammo and faster reload speeds. But other than that, it's going to be, for me, this season, it's going to be playing a lot of control, probably with Rampart, playing a lot of Loba, playing Vantage, playing Ballistic, and probably playing Wraith. I think the play of Pathfinder is a lot more predictable than the play of Wraith, so that's probably why I'm going to be leaning that direction.
Well, I'm glad to hear that you want to play more ballistic, because I actually really enjoy playing ballistic.
Setting up a zip line.
I think
it makes me
ballistic's
feel more
great.
comfortable on pushes, and you time his ult really well, and his ult is really the key on him. It's so good, and people don't think about some of the key aspects of it, like in a just straight gunplay aspect, you're moving faster with your gun out. Like, that's less predictable, you know.
And if you couple that with a Mad Maggie, I've seen that a lot too. The Mad Maggie ballistic combination is really.
Yeah, and so what he means with other characters is going to be, I think it's going to be a yet to see thing, because there's so many more options because of that. But I think we should move on and then talk about what we should do this season from the get-go, right? So any thoughts on that?
So I think we should do Mirage Crypto.
Yeah. Mirage Crypto?
I really do. I think we should do Mirage Crypto Ballistic. I think that would be a great place to start.
That was the very first setup I said, and I'm sticking to it. I think that would be great. The only thing that I feel that Team Comp is lacking is movement, but Mirage helps with the distraction aspect of it, being able to, without actually having movement, being able to help the team rotate out.
He's just slippery.
Yeah, exactly. He's just a slippery character.
So the only other thing probably that we're probably gonna have to prioritize getting survival items. So probably getting like an evac tower and making sure we probably have at least one of those and at least one of the heat shields. It's probably what we're gonna have to prioritize.
You know, I 100% playing this season prefer the evac tower to the heat shield. 100%. Now, other people might disagree with me, but I just being able to get out of the zone so quick. Like, the only reason I would want to keep heat shields around is for looting. If you just finished off a team right as the ring is closing and you want to loot those boxes. Otherwise, I'm just like, man, it's so good, the evac tower is. Just personally, that's what I would want to carry around. Plus, I play characters that don't always have movement, you know? So that's another reason why I like them. But I don't know what you guys would think. Like, you're saying, like, prioritizing the evac towers and the heat shields over the respawn beacons? Is that what you're saying, Carlton? Is that what you think on that?
I'm saying that, and then also whatever things that we need right then and there. Say that we want a better heavy mag, we might forego that thought for a second until we find all of our survival items first. Like when we call out, okay, what are we looking for? I think the first thing that when we ask that question would be, okay, well, do you have your survival item or something like that? Is the other thing. Because we hardly almost never prioritize that. Like, sometimes we talk about heat shields, and it's also like the evac tower is probably another new thing to get used to.
Well, and I think for Legends, if we're going to go into a game with a Crypto and a Mirage, like having a respawn beacon is useful, just because of their passives.
Mm-hmm.
You know, being able to pop one down, run 50 meters away, and then use your drone to spawn people in. That's really good.
And we probably also have to be aware of which one's in the crafter as well, too. Because that's another tricky thing sometimes. Alright, is there any other closing comments before we probably get a match underneath our belts? Get some of that placement done?
I think, watch out, world, here we come.
Anyone watching this to try and, scope and get all this great information is not going to help. Oh, one thing I would like to talk about then is gun loadouts that people are thinking that they want to run commonly.
Oh, that's because I think
question. Like we don't doubling up all the time, and if we're playing ranked, we'll fall into a comfortable rhythm of what guns we're going to be playing, but we definitely don't want to be doubling up too much, is what I think. And so I think even just like, I want to be playing snipers, or I want to be playing marksmen, that kind of information, I think is a good thing to have planned out, and just for playing different characters. how
So
that's
here's
going to
my
play their
question.
strengths. So.
Are you thinking ammo types or specifically gun types?
Both.
Okay.
Because they both, like, doubling up too much on ammo can be a problem, but, like, if we're running ballistic, it's not as big of a problem.
Not as big of a problem, exactly.
But then, like, do we all want to be sniping? Do we want to be that team that all of us have a sniper and some close-ranged weapon? Or do we want to, like... We haven't even discussed the idea of, like, entry fragger, or, like, we kind of touched on it a little bit, but, like, honestly, like... Who we doing entry fragger? Who we doing anchor? Who we doing secondary fragger? Because that also would affect what we're loading up. Like, are we gonna play a no stereotypical entry fragger and play a little bit more far back with all of us playing marksman or sniper, or are we gonna be like that? That's the question I have on it. So.
Well, my initial thoughts of that would be, if Carlton's going to play ballistic, I think he needs to enter, followed by me, and then you. And my own playstyle with Mirage, the way I prefer to play him is an AR, an R301, and an SMG. And if I'm going to get an R301, then I'm also going to get an R99. And then I'm going to have that light.
Do you want to go double light?
Generally, that's how I prefer to do it. And then, but that gives me flexibility, because if we open a care package or whatever, and inside of there we find a Kraber, I really like to swap for the Kraber, because I feel like I'm actually pretty okay with the Kraber, and being able to use one, like swapping my R99 for the Kraber. That's how I like to play. That's me personally as Mirage, but also that's more of an aggressive playstyle. I could, if I'm going to be secondary, then I could swap out one of those things for a, for like a shotgun or something, or I could swap it out for a sniper rifle to help balance out ammo types, if that's what we need.
Okay, Thomas, why don't you go ahead and say what guns that you probably would be pivoting to?
Well, playing crypto, I want to play something with some good range on it. So, marksman, a sniper. I love, and other people will hate on me for it, but I love playing charge rifle as crypto. Because, like, I don't have to be in the fray, like you talk about getting stuck in the video game. I know I don't get stuck in the video game, but I can get stuck far from the fight. And the charge rifle, I can just beam people with, and I can be messing with them if they're trying to get a flank on you guys while I'm somewhere else. So charge rifle is definitely one I want to go with, but I also feel comfortable with the Sentinel, which is in the crafter right now. So I know I could get my hands on one of those. I feel comfortable with it. I'm not as good with it, I know, but I do feel comfortable with it. I was playing with it quite a bit at the end of last season to just try and get a better feel for it. I'm not a fan of the longbow, just because I cannot get the drop. It's more. I feel like it's even more dropped than like a G7, but I'll play a G7, or I'll play triple thick. I've been enjoying triple thick again this season since the changes. So something with some range on it that I feel comfortable with, like Sentinel, charge rifle. Charge rifle would be number one pick, but triple take would be up there. Sentinel would be up there. G7 would be up there. Maybe 30-30 with the changes. I do feel better with it, but it still would be lower ranked than any of those ones for me, but it would be higher than longbow. But then I want a submachine gun. I like the Prowler. I like the Car. I like the R99, and I like the Volt. So all submachine guns, really, I like as a secondary. It would be about balancing out, like Sam said, at that point, which one I would be wanting to play.
Cool.
Range and a submachine gun.
Well, so team comp wise, go ahead, Sam.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Carl.
Okay.
Because all I was going to add was another comp I want to use just to balance things is I do enjoy long fire, and that's a combination I've been very successful, especially on Mirage. So anyway, that's another thing.
So yeah, with the flexibility with that would probably be pivoting. So light, sniper, is probably what you two will be skewing towards. If the Hemlock wasn't a care package weapon, I would feel a lot better in the sense of the flexibility I could do with the hemlock, but because it's a care package weapon.
Hemlock's a great weapon. I love it.
But because it's I know I pinged a couple times and he just went running for it sometimes, which is I love it. But because it's not on the floor, I can't do it as a weapon I can lean on. So for me, that weapon will be replaced with the flatline. So flatline and then Volt would be probably what I'd be running this season. Just because of how much I feel confident with them, and then what I can do with them, especially with like what that means reload speed with the Volt, and what that means damage-wise with the flatline, and range-wise that I can do with the flatline. So yeah.
But as Ballistic was mentioned as your first, as a first team comp character, what would you be placing in your sling?
That's a good question. So sling-wise, I am probably going to lean a little too much on this concept for
Mozambique.
You know what? The Mozambique would not be the worst sling weapon. I think there's definitely worse sling weapons.
I might make a bad habit of doing the RE45 as my sling weapon.
That's I agree that that's a good option, because it comes with the hammer point, and that the reload speed is ridiculous, and being able to pop to it after breaking people and just shred them with the just sheer volume of bullets. Yeah, it's great.
So yeah, with that in mind, I am going to leave this firing range and then head to the lobby.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the...
Oh my goodness. What are you in that popcorn?
Popcorn, drinks, candy.
Yeah, which one are you? Are you the candy popcorn?
I'm always going to be the soda pop.
Nice.
Alright, let's get this one match underneath our belts and we'll call that a stream. Caleb did respond to what you talked about, and then he was all for going Revenant, Lifeline, and Valkyrie, which will make sense.
Oh, for his playstyle.
Yeah.
Who was that?
That was another YouTube comment from Mr. Smith.
Oh, okay, yeah, with going Lifeline, Revenant, Valkyrie.
Mm-hmm.
He does, and Revenant's another one that I've dabbled in a bit too, and someone I enjoy. But Caleb definitely has lockdown on how to play. So, another thing to consider is what map are we on?
Yeah, that's when the maps we're on are ones I feel great and comfortable with Crypto. That's one of the reasons I like him, because there's banners. I know where all the banners are. I know where hidey holes are for droning. So that's another reason why he was a high pick for me. Not just because I enjoy him and I feel comfortable on him, and I feel like I'm helpful, but because the maps. I mean, they're good Crypto maps for me. Because it's World's Edge and King's Canyon, I believe, for ranked. Am I correct on that, Carlton?
I'm pretty sure you're right on that, and that's one of the reasons why I haven't talked about Ashe, because I don't feel like I have to play Ashe because of that. Because I know where majority of the death box will be on those maps, and I know the distance isn't going to be that big of a thing for this team comp. Because Ashe would help a whole lot with that if we still want to go Assault as the third.
Mm-hmm.
So.
This is your chance.
Look at that, Carlton. You already have 76 kills on the newest character.
Yeah, sure.
My best character, I have only 200 more than you.
Alright, so for World's Edge, ping locations that we think will be good for us.
Well, one that I always think is a good one for this map.
Alright, Sam, why don't you give us a ping? If he's there.
He might be AFK for a second.
I'm pinging. For me, a hot drop for us is obviously Survey Camp. It's very comfortable. I would also say Overlook's a good spot for us to drop.
Maybe we don't. I'm fine with whatever.
Stacks. is a hot zone that we could probably be successful in.
Maybe
The
we
trees
land
one
here.
we've been landing
Maybe
in
we don't.
lately.
I'm fine with whatever.
Uh,
Destroy them with decorum.
So
We've also
when,
been successful over near Big Mod a few times too.
Yeah.
Like real successful.
well, in Big Mod, usually one of the carries is the golden longbow, and if you land there, then I definitely have more of a tendency to go there because of that longbow. There's at least one squad landing in Mod.
Is there?
Yeah, I think so.
yeah, there's
Oh.
dots there.
Okay.
Hey, Carl, grab that purple.
Sure,
Yeah.
why not?
But I agree with you, Thomas, in that this maps feel very comfortable
Yeah.
for us to play in because we played them together. But also because a lot of cover and a lot of verticality and
I've obtained a heat
Barrage
shield.
is very good when I can get to cover quickly. Right now, I'm currently carrying heavy weapons, but
Well, I only have one gun so far. It's a car, so.
Yes, that will
I just
do
picked up an
nicely.
RE45 as well. So. I'm gonna send my drone out to a banner here in a second. One sec.
I found a mastiff here.
no, that's another set of guns I was contemplating using as well this season. Feel comfortable.
R99 here.
Shotguns this season compared to last season.
I don't know how they are compared to last season. Last season they got a nice buff, and I was playing them. And I never played shotguns, but after their buff from last season, I was definitely playing them.
Flatline here.
I'll give that a good hold.
Mastiff here.
Attention. Delivering care package.
Check it out. Care package coming in.
See where that care package is landing?
I'm assuming that question was for Sam on the
I
skirmisher.
can't do anything about it anyway. Not anymore.
Oh, he's not a skirmisher.
I hear
Yeah.
I hear footsteps.
Oh, okay.
Pitching
Yeah.
to my
Hey,
eyes.
there is one in the area.
One squad nearby. Shots
Been
fired.
shot at.
Hit me. Bam to the. Bam.
Don't know stacks very well.
Yeah, they're over here.
So, we have an enemy.
They have at least a Valk. I'm on the other side of the building from you guys, so I'm coming. Kind of be conservative about it.
I'm down.
Okay.
They're underneath the tunnel.
Got a bad guy.
Climbing up. That's my. He's a Mirage 2 right here.
She's broke, but I think about 51 after on the Valk. Ooh,
It's not losing.
not a great showing
It's
for
an
us.
opportunity
Oh,
to
yeah.
excel. Oh, who am I kidding? You went down in flames.
Got one here.
Alright, let's give this a go one more time.
Well, it's 1 out of 10.
Hmm. What was our placement? I didn't. It was so fast that I didn't.
I think it was
look at it.
13.
13,
Okay, so
I
not
think.
good.
Yeah, 13.
All right, this is the one where we get Carlton a 20 bomb,
Oh
So-
yeah. Please.
20 bomb in a
and then
place.
he's gonna shoot through the ranks ahead of us. So
Off the grid is
Well, I mean, if everyone gets assists on all that.
3 words: win and win again. Yeah.
Let us see what we can teach the riffraff, shall we?
Wow, you already have 5 wins with him too, Carl.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get your budgie smugglers in a twist. It's just your old mate feud.
And all of them have been kind of different, which is nice.
Gunmaster, and would you believe in excellent chef?
I'm good, but there's 2 of me. So I'm good twice. Check out that math.
So you had me and Sam ping some locations and mention some locations that we think would be good drops for us on this map. What about you, Carlton, thinking for good drops for us?
Well, as long as there's crafting materials at that location, that's perfectly
Anyone want
fine
to take
with
me out?
me.
Come find me.
I always think about rotation-wise afterwards, so rotating to the left
Anyone
right
wanna
now
take
to
me
the
out? Come find me.
mountain, and then right is also a good idea for rotation after that.
There's a
But,
lot
like-
of salt bins over there too.
Yeah, but Overlook is really good, but usually when I'm going to be Jump Master, I'm going to probably be
Bring the
landing at
raft.
Trials.
There's a charming spot.
Uh-huh.
Yep. Guys, look at this. Guys, look.
Because one of the reasons I think we're always almost going to be able to be kitted for what guns we're going to be wanting, especially with those marksman weapons. Because of that bin that's up here.
Yeah.
Someone got the party started.
Pay attention to your map. The next ring is not close.
Longbow here.
Flatline here.
I'll give that a good home.
Putting an eye in the sky.
Kids, the ring's closing in 1 minute.
Oh, there we go. One I was actually surprised nobody mentioned wanting to play this season is the Nemesis.
Yeah, that's true.
Spot here.
Round 1.
Okay, I'm gonna try the R301 Mastiff this game.
Okay.
We're gonna try that and see if
I've got my charge rifle already, so I'll put you on that for sure.
The All-Father graces your victory this day. Tucker your reward from the center.
Knockdown shield here. Level 2.
Round 2.
I already have a level 2 knockdown, so I'm just going to grab that.
Wake up, ring's moving. That thing hurts.
You are one with the hunt. The prize is yours and yours alone. Button.
Sam, do you want to grab that purple bolt? There you go.
Yeah, I got it.
I think Carlton's is probably not far from evolving.
Round 3. Victory is within reach.
Light ammo.
Care package
You
approaches.
have fought well,
One
blessed
charge
Mati.
assault with my favorite
Claim the
knife.
spoils of battle.
That's mine.
Okay, I'll take
Much
the
obliged.
armor.
Okay.
You grab
Then-
Carl gets the helmet probably.
Yeah, him taking the helmet's a good one. I took the backpack since you had the armor, so.
Yeah, I still have a level 1 backpack. So
There's still a blue armor here, Carlton.
Number 2. Backpack here. Level 1. Expanded supply bin for expanded opportunities.
I have a heat shield now.
Okay. I have an evac tower. I forgot to mention that. I picked that up right away. I'm still looking for a
Did you
submachine
say-
gun.
Did you say
Honestly,
there's
any
a
of them. I'm fine.
longbow?
There's
There's a
one
longbow?
on the upper area,
Let's relocate here.
right over there.
Okay, well, there's a Spitfire in this bin, so I'm kind of tempted to swap that. Was there a scope with it? Or actually, I have one. I am gonna swap. So just 1 second. I got a little bit of finagling to do here.
Alright, I'll step back.
Can you check the banners real quick?
Yeah. I'm doing it while he's swapping stuff out. One in the area.
One squad in the area. We have the drop.
Oh, the ring's closing. Shoot.
Backing out of my
Yeah,
drone.
you move.
I'm good to go.
Carl, you okay?
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm recalling my drone. Overseeing eye.
Are we gonna take this jump tower? I think
Yeah.
it's a good plan.
Being shot at from behind from this roof.
Smart bullets away.
Alright.
The game's afoot.
They just destroyed my drone. I was gonna ult them if necessary.
Sending out a decoy.
I shot at one of them.
There's a new kill leader. No need to make a fuss. They'll meet me soon.
The Newcastle.
Collecting materials. Easy peasy.
Trying to ping that. Carlton was too fast.
It's mine.
I'm really striking out, finding any submachine guns.
We should journey there.
Oh, there we go. That one.
Putting an eye in the sky.
Spotted a foe over there.
All
Jolly
right.
good. Hooligan over
Enemy
there.
spotted. They look small. Firing. I'm recalling my drone. Enemy shield cracked.
Small bullets here.
Nice, Carl.
Took down that hooligan.
Can't run into it.
They got his move somewhere though, so be careful.
Killed an enemy. All sparing.
There's none within my drone range. So,
We can wait for him.
Hooligan here.
2 within drone range now. 3 within drone range now.
I'm running out of ideas.
There's only 2 within drone range now, so I don't know which way they're coming from,
I'm good to go.
because I only saw that one team over there.
We should gather our forces here. The replicator descends.
Over here.
One right here.
I'm healing.
Are they fighting over there? Or
No, it's a Mad Maggie.
Switching to drone.
okay.
Watching my back.
There's still 2 within my drone's range. Only none within my drone range now. They all went out of range.
Our quarry has been there.
Backing out of my drone. I'm good to go.
You can craft that Loba's banner any way you want though. So, just keep that in consideration.
Probably head towards Climatizer.
How about this way?
Okay, we're on the outside. I do have an evac tower still. I don't. Do you have any survival, Carl?
Not yet.
Okay.
I have a heat shield.
Switching to drone view.
Oh, 1 within drone range now that I'm over here.
One squad nearby.
So, are you heading towards the epicenter? Is that where you're heading, Carlton?
I'm just getting this loot.
Here. Excellent.
Oh,
Optics here. Sniper.
Let's check it over there.
are you dropping any optics, Sam?
There's an enemy over there.
I am dropping ×3s.
Okay,
There's
I will
a-
take those.
There's a
Well, I'm
carrot.
trying to. The most awkwardly placed.
45 seconds, rings close. Careful. They could be
They are
watching.
weird.
Got like a really awkward angle.
Yeah, I agree.
Need a better backpack.
To the ring. Get prepared. 30 seconds left.
Wish we could kill these guys so I could...
Found us some dropships entering our airspace.
Yep.
Delightful.
Thank you. Adding an extra pair of eyes. Tick-tock, 10 seconds. Missed the ring. Got one spotted.
They're fighting somebody over there.
Okay, that's our chance to try and get rings, so.
We are all outside the ring. We'll be safer inside. Sending out my decoy.
Someone just got launched at me.
They're at the bridge over here.
Spotted our foe there.
Okay.
Let's defend here. They will not break us.
I'm droning. There's 3 within drone.
Three other squads are close. 조심하자.
Evac tower deployed over there.
There's a lot of, just some death boxes over here and a lifeline. There's only one team drone range now. I don't have eyes on.
Heads up, got one here.
Yeah, they're far. There's a lot of death boxes on the bridge
Heavy
itself.
mag here. Evac tower here.
I'm watching the other side of the bridge with my drone.
There's 2 shield bats in here. I don't need them because of my armor.
Yeah.
I don't need a better backpack though. Grabbing this evac tower. There's an R99 in here if you...
Ammo point.
Incompetent amateur there.
Man, no sniper stuff in any of this stuff.
Replicator being delivered.
Replicator here, falling down.
Sniper ammunition here.
Yeah, I could use that.
Blue backpack him. I don't know if that's better than what you got.
I'm good now.
Okay. I'm gonna move my drone up a bit.
Pitching into my eye.
How are we doing
Banners
on
too.
enemy banners?
Just one. Oh, 2 now? I don't have eyes on any of them. You guys know what direction they are.
Sounds like maybe epicenter.
60 seconds left.
Okay, I'll send drone over by epicenter. Let me know if ring gets close to me.
You got 40 seconds.
Eyes on somebody here.
45 seconds left. We're almost there.
Enemy there.
Yep.
Opening fire. The ring's near.
I just know of one squad over here that
20
they're gonna have
seconds.
to move.
Got him.
Companions, we're not far from the ring and have 10 seconds. Smart bullet deployed.
Alright, let's move.
Watch my back.
Right here.
Enemy spotted. It looks small. Opening fire.
He's flesh. Or he
Reloading.
was.
Yeah, I think this place needs a little more.
There's at least 2 of them here.
We're all outside the ring. We'll be safer.
I'm throwing an arc star. A care package approaches.
They just finished off another squad right there.
Fully stocked with my favorite nightcap.
They're on bridge now.
Smart bullets land. Down to
Guys, you guys.
Right
Sit
here.
on this, sit on this,
Right here, right in front of me.
behind us as well.
Oh, look at this.
Before your heat shield you got from.
I don't have it. Sam has it.
Okay.
I'm gonna die.
Darn. That's better though.
Yeah, better. We got at least top 10, and I got a couple assists. That means somebody got kills.
Carl did. Carl got 4.
Nice, Carlton.
Two down.
Alright, I'm gonna call that a stream. I appreciate you guys jumping on with me, and I appreciate those YouTube comments. So we'll see you guys later.